Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about Hearthstone Mercenaries and the +1/+5 stat buff that you get when you have fully maxed your Mercenary. Hearthstone Mercenaries is now 1 month old, we have had a bit of time to play with it, and it's getting to the point where it's possible to start to evaluate the game a little bit more objectively than it was right at the beginning. I've been playing Hearthstone Mercenaries a lot, at least by content creator standards, not by the standards of all the players, I'm sure. Like, almost all of my rares are maxed, some are still missing a few tasks every here and there. I maxed my Ferks, Stepics, Legendaries. Every mercenary that I own is level 30. I've completed almost 500 tasks in the game. So I think now it's a much more fruitful time to start really evaluating the game than it was earlier when there was not enough experience about it. And the more I see and the more I think about it, the more I'm convinced that this +1/+5 stat buff, when you have a mercenary you need to max all the abilities, you need to max all the equipment, and then you get that +1/+5 stat buff, and that is a huge effort. When you unlock your mercenary, even if you do all of their tasks, you're still more than 1,000 coins short. And what's worse is that it doesn't even really help to buy packs. Because from packs you get random coins, so you might get coins for all the other mercenaries, but you might not get any coins for the specific one that you want to max. And this problem just becomes worse and worse as new mercenaries are added to the game. Like, initially you could buy a whole lot of packs. You didn't have coins for any mercenaries anyway, all the coins are good, but as you start to max out some of them, and you want to focus on a specific one, it gets just increasingly difficult. And then you do their whole task chain, 18 tasks, and after that you're still looking forward to maybe 10-15 hours of grinding just to get that mercenary maxed. And well, is +1/+5 a big deal? Yes, it is. It's actually a very big deal, because it changes a lot of key breakpoints. Just for reference, this one Superior David's tweet about this Anduin Malfurion Mukla opener, very common opener at the moment on the ladder. Kuki truly makes this comp work, because a maxed out Anduin can now survive against Samuro turn 1. Yeah, so this comp also needs the Kuki Appetizers buff, but that's not enough, you still need to have maxed out Anduin as well in order to really make it work. This is not the only instance, there are tons of instances where maxed out Mercenary makes all the difference. It doesn't matter that much for PvE. For PvE you typically have enough leeway, you can build various comps, to handle even the heroic challenges, having maxed out Mercenary is not a big deal there, but in PvP it's definitely a game changer. And right now the first major Blizzard-sanctioned tournament where Mercenaries is being played is underway, the Global Invitational in China, and then we have stuff like this from Educated Collins on Discord. Can we borrow an account which has maxed heroes on NA? Kind of a long shot and a long list of heroes. So this is obviously because they had some problems with the super accounts that they were provided with, so the players were provided with accounts that had maxed mercenaries, but like, who even has that many maxed mercenaries? Now or even in the future? Just imagine something like a Masters Tour style tournament, where some of the people are playing with maxed mercenaries and some of them are not. That's just so far from an even playing field as possible. And right now this problem affects even top level tournament play, and that is not a good sign. These are players who have already had 1 month to play the game. So the really big problem with the +1/+5 stat buff is that it causes an additional barrier to entry to PvP. It's going to get increasingly difficult to enter top level PvP in Mercenaries as long as this buff exists in the current system. And the more barriers to entry there are, the smaller the player pool is going to be, and the lower the level of competition. I don't think Blizzard is trying to make Mercenaries into a good e-sport. They definitely haven't been doing that with any of the other Hearthstone modes either. But if you look at the Hearthstone modes overall, we have Battlegrounds, which is really cheap. If you buy Battlegrounds perks, you're on the even footing with everyone else. No one has any advantages. Then there's Standard, and in Standard you cannot be free to play and have everything, but you can pay your way pretty easily to just playing. And then we have Mercenaries, which is really weird of a hybrid, because you can free to play your way to absolutely everything in the game, but it is quite a huge effort. And it's also kind of difficult to buy your way into the game, because a small investment gets you some heroes, gets some of their abilities started so you can start the task grind, but then in order to step from that to the next level, getting really those maxed out mercenaries, that requires a huge investment. So the meaningful levels of putting money into mercenaries is like, okay, I don't put anything and I can work through it all. I put like 20, 50, up to $100, and yeah, I can do a lot of things with that. It eases up my way, but there's still a ton to do. Or then I put like $1,000. Like, there's no meaningful intermediate steps. Obviously, because the goal has never been to make this a real esport, that has never been the goal for any of the Hearthstone modes, it's not like Blizzard is trying to remove all the barriers to entry to PvP. There's some monetary purchases or some grinding or some combination of both. But for most heroes for PvP, you get a couple of skills maxed, you get one piece of equipment maxed, and you have it in a playable state. It's doing perfectly fine. There might be some niche scenario where you want to use a third skill that you would usually never use in PvP, but in almost every scenario your Merc is already performing well. And then there's this +1/+5 stat buff that just puts all the calculations off. Nothing works quite the same. Stuff survives that should die. New comps are enabled. Worst case scenario would be like new comps that are played at the top level of PvP with max level mercenaries, and then somebody tries to copy that comp, play it when they're entering PvP, and it just doesn't work for them at all, because they don't hit the crucial breakpoints. So while you can argue that Mercenaries has its own fair share of problems, I think this particular problem is the one that I'm most concerned about for Mercenaries as a PvP game in the long term. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the content, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and check out my Twitch channel.